Yesterday I went to the gym, probably for the first time in over a week because I have sort of become a fat ass, much more than usual lately. Probably because I'm doing a lot of this, what I'm doing right now, and not going to the gym. And it was about 6:30 to 7, so there wasn't much on. They have ESPN in all the corners. I think they also had CNN and Fox News in all the corners. And I think it's fitting right now because I already got like the conciliatory stuff out of the way in my last video about the 4th of July. Now I can go back to talking shit. And what was so odd was that ESPN, they were talking about the run-up to the new football season, and they were talking about Kaepernick and where he's going to land. And I actually filmed a previous video about this I had never put up because I forgot. So it's not even current yet anymore. So I figured I'd go back to talking about the Kaepernick issue. Let me make this clear. Colin Kaepernick, if he plays again in the NFL, will be a middle-of-the-pack player. I don't think he's really going to lead a contender in the near future. I think that there's a few teams where he could land that he would be able to have a passable career, such as New Orleans, where Drew Brees is getting up there in years. He could probably land in Indianapolis as a backup to, what's his name, Andrew Luck. I don't think people would really be that bent out of shape if he played there. There's plenty of cities where politically the fallout would not be as bad as people think. And this whole notion that it's distraction in the locker room, I think, is not the real reason. It is a reason why people would not want him on their team, but it isn't the reason. And the reason is that Kaepernick is an asshole, and he would pretty much draw attention to himself by virtue of his just refusal to really keep his thoughts in order. This whole look, when he did the whole national anthem thing and the stuff about Black Lives Matter, I think that he was able for a while to keep up this charade that he actually cared about that, and maybe he did come to care about that. I still believe that it was some sort of mind game that he was playing with Chip Kelly in order to get his starting position back. Okay, I don't believe that he really believed in that. Maybe he came to believe in that because he started saying, "Oh, I better figure out what the fuck I'm talking about because people are going to be asking me questions." But then what really got me riled up was when he started, waxing philosophical about Fidel Castro and everything he'd done for Cuba and for the black community. Colin Kaepernick basically showed that he was, Tariq Nasheed with shoulder pads on. That's basically what he is, and wearing the stupid afro and representing out there for his dime store socialism. It's champagne limousine socialism. That's what he is. That's what he's espousing, I should say. That really lost a lot of respect for me. Much more so. I mean, the anthem protest, I didn't really believe that he was sincere about it. Which, I think since he got his starting position back, I could only say, well, I guess he got what he wanted. Well, it seems to me that not now he's got buyer's remorse. He's not in the league as of right now. The most likely destination is apparently San Francisco. And this is what Shannon Sharpe has to say about that. And we all know Shannon Sharpe, he's always for freedom of speech unless you disagree with Shannon Sharpe.
Shannon, do you have a problem with Lynch's comments?
I definitely have a problem with it. Or his comment, First Amendment protected speech. But I do, because he's perpetuating a narrative that if Colin Kaepernick were to do this public interview, the floodgates of offers would pour in, and he's being disingenuous. If you allow me a second, let's step back for just a second before we come forward. John Lynch said he knew of a team willing to sign Colin Kaepernick, although teams don't know if Colin Kaepernick wants to play. John Lynch also said in his conversation that he's had with Cap, his willingness and his desire to want to play. Yet when teams call other teams and talk about players, they ask all the time, what's the player like? How hard does he work? Is he a film study guy? Is he a weight room guy? Is he great with his teammates? So Colin Kaepernick needs to have a public, whether he talks to me or anybody on Fox News or 60 Minutes, who does that help? The public. Because teams that want to know about a player, they reach out. In order to make this fair, Skip, I don't want it to be apples to oranges or tomatoes, because they're all fruit, but tomatoes doesn't come in a fruit basket. How about this here, Skip? Mark Sanchez, Brian Hoyer. Let's just take Brian Hoyer. He signed with the San Francisco 49ers, Skip. And I want you to answer this. Did Brian Hoyer reach out to the 49ers, or did the 49ers reach out to him? Mark Sanchez, Blaine Gabbert, Ryan Fitzpatrick, Chase Daniels, Case Keenum, Geno Smith, E.J. Manuel. Did their representatives reach out to the teams, or did the teams reach out to him? Them. See, what the narrative is being portrayed, Colin Kaepernick is 29 years of age. He'll be 30 in November. Had Colin Kaepernick tied for 3 years and trying to get back into the league, I'll get it. A la Randall Cunningham. Remember, Skip, he stepped away. Okay, he was away. You're going to have to tell people you're interested in playing. Michael Vick was away 27 months. Maybe some teams needed to reach out with him. Colin Kaepernick just finished the season in January. But somehow now, we need him to speak up and say, guys, I want to play. No, what you want him to do is bow down. You want him to bow down and kiss the ring and say, what a horrible mistake and what a horrible person I am to use this great NFL platform for a cause that I deem to be very worthy. Skip, in that 2 minutes, the national anthem is playing. Now, after the national anthem, they have...
So Shannon Sharp does make a couple good points that, there's these quarterbacks that are arguably worse than Shannon Sharp, than Colin Kaepernick, that have jobs already for the 2018 season, 2017-2018 season. That is a good point. What he does not talk about is the fact that Kaepernick is not really showing his commitment by, first of all, I've seen article after article that shows that Kaepernick really is not talking about football. It's the furthest thing from his mind. He's not focused on it. You don't see him releasing workout videos like some of these other players are. Let me give you an example. So in this Sporting News article, it says Colin Kaepernick supporters no match for reality of NFL inside and out. And it's actually an even-handed analysis of the issue, because it does have, sorry if I have all these fucking InfoWars. Yeah. I haven't bought anything from InfoWars, if you're asking. Super male vitality. You could use that to Colin Kaepernick, make up for your vegan diet. So it does balance the whole problem, because even if you're like me and you say, fuck Colin Kaepernick, who gives a shit if he's in the NFL or not? If teams don't want to sign him, they shouldn't sign him. But they also have this issue of all these other players that have been permitted back in the league after actual domestic violence or drug crimes or whatever. We're not talking about somebody who's done a sin that is unforgivable compared to other people in the league. But, let's talk about some of the issues here. It says, 2 days before the draft, Kaepernick was honored at a New York gala as one of Time Magazine's 100 most influential people. The weekend of the draft, Kaepernick donated custom-made suits at a parole office in Queens for those who are leaving incarceration, homelessness, or victimization and need them to help them get jobs. That's a good idea. Last week in Chicago, he held another Know Your Rights camp like the one he held in Oakland last season to educate youths about, among other things, their legal rights when encountering law enforcement. Former 49ers teammate Eric Reed, who joined him in his anthem protests last season, also joined him at the camp. And here they have these T-shirts that he had printed out. Then, it shows that Blaine Gabbert was signed by the Cardinals. Jay Cutler has retired. Mike Glennon has retired. So I guess they're talking about why can't he play with the Bears. Mike Glennon's playing for the Bears, and he was no huge success in Tampa. Then it says Riley Cooper, caught on video screaming racial slurs at a 2013 contest, was invited to and participated in the Buccaneers rookie minicamp last weekend. So the thing is that there was a report yesterday. Kaepernick is in Egypt right now with another guy who was his ex-teammate in San Francisco. I think that this focus on Kaepernick is a manufactured political issue. It's a wedge that's being driven into society by people that have that agenda that's consistent with Kaepernick's. And if you look forward, his career is going to be, for lack of a better word, colored by that whole controversy, such that we won't ever be able to actually evaluate how good of a quarterback he was. Now, I'm not going to take away from him the fact that he had those 2 good seasons with the 49ers, a team that I've always hated. That's the reason I hate Kaepernick. It has nothing to do with his cause. I hate the 49ers. I hated Steve Young, and he's a Mormon. So it's not as if I'm some sort of biased Kaepernick hater. I hate his team and I hate him. And if he signs with let's say he were to sign with a team like the Jets, I probably wouldn't care as much. But this crybaby movement that's been developing around him, where people are saying, oh, he's being victimized because of the way he's expressed himself and his opinions, that is such an exaggeration. People just don't. I think people can't stand him on a personal level in some cases. They know that this is somebody that they're going to have to deal with that is going to undermine the authority of the coaches and the rest of the staff and organization. And can he prove them wrong? Yeah, I think he can. I think he absolutely can. But for Shannon Sharpe to start saying, we want them to apologize and kiss their rings and whatnot. Well, when you're in charge of a team, you don't want somebody who's going to undermine your authority. You don't want somebody who puts their own image first and the team second. That was the problem with Terrell Owens. That was the problem with Chad Ochocinco. That was the problem with Vernon Davis in San Francisco. That's why Mike Singletary freaked out at him, and it has nothing to do with race or politics. It's an issue of, can they keep this person focused and grounded in the interests of the team? And with Colin Kaepernick, there is serious doubt that can be done. Can he prove them wrong? Absolutely. I mean, at one point he was a very high functioning quarterback in terms of his running ability and he was never a bad passer, by the way. He was never, you can criticize Kaepernick all you want, but it's not like he's an interception machine. And he got to the Super Bowl one time, and he got to the NFC Championship. You have to remember, though, that he got there with a very good defense, not quite as historically good as the Ravens or the Bears. Those ones that are like really up there, the Seahawks, the Broncos. But it's a defense that was their backbone for all those years. It wasn't him or Alex Smith, the other quarterback for the Niners. So these people trying to claim, oh, Colin Kaepernick's this vast untapped talent. How could they it must be political that he can't get back into the NFL. No, at one point, Mark Sanchez was also a runaway success when he was with the Jets. He went to the AFC Championship 3 times with the Jets, and within a couple years, it all collapsed around him. And then when they got rid of him, nobody cared in New York. It's the same way with Colin Kaepernick. It's easy come, easy go. Now, does he deserve a second chance like Mark Sanchez did get a second chance with the Eagles? I'm not going to say that he doesn't. I'm just going to say there are reasons that teams don't want him to come. And I think it's possible for him to redeem himself in their eyes. But if Shannon Sharp's acting like he doesn't have to do anything in order to earn a phone call and a tryout or anything, he doesn't know what the hell he's talking. He did get a tryout with the Seahawks, by the way, if I'm not mistaken. But are you going to sign Colin Kaepernick to be the backup for Russell Wilson? And then if the Seahawks have kind of a topsy-turvy season because of their weak offensive line, are you going to have this quarterback controversy where people will be like, oh, they're a physical guy who had the legs of Russell Wilson, just put in Colin Kaepernick? That's something that they would have to deal with. Should they be willing to deal with that? That's up to Pete Carroll, the coach of the Seahawks. If he doesn't want to sign a player, he shouldn't have to justify it. He works for the team. That's what fans in the media don't understand. This is a corporation. The NFL is a cartel. This isn't the Hall of Justice here. This isn't some sort of idealistic world where people are really embodying the the values of American society. The NFL is as corrupt as it's ever been. And this isn't even a corruption issue because the coach always has the discretion who they want on the team and who they don't want. And if the coach does not want the person on the team, they're not going to sign him. If Kyle Shanahan doesn't want him on the Niners, they're not going to sign him. And the GM too. If the GM, Jerry Jones, doesn't want him in Dallas, then they're not going to sign him. If you get people like that guy, the Broncos, John Elway says, no, we're not going to sign him. Then they're not going to sign him. If they could have used him in Cleveland, this John DePodesta guy, Paul DePodesta, sorry, John DePodesta, Paul DePodesta. He could easily make his work a little easier by having another option in there. He decided not to have Colin Kaepernick there. Could the political issues be part of the equation? Sure. And even if he were to apologize and come crawling back to them, who's to say people would forgive him? It's a toss-up. Michael Vick made an honest looking, at least, he looked very sincere in his attempt to get back in the graces of the public. People still don't like him years after that because of his dogfighting conviction, which is a different matter. I'm not trying to say that they're the same thing, but this is pure clickbaiting on the part of the media, on the part of Shannon Sharp, the guy who said to Des Bryant to shut up when he expressed his opinion. Now it's Colin Kaepernick. Now he's acting like Colin Kaepernick doesn't have to go and behave in any sort of way. He should be able to do whatever the fuck he wants, and teams should be groveling at his feet for him to come. No, if a team does not want you to be on their team, that's the way it is. They will not take you. They don't give a fuck. There was that Chris Kluwe a couple years ago tried to pull the same stunt, the punter for the Vikings. He said, the Vikings aren't re-signing me and I can't get another job because I speak out in favor of gay rights or something. No, that's not why they didn't sign you. And even if it was, who cares? So what? Nobody guarantees you a spot in an NFL roster. There's a lot of people that could be playing in the NFL. Bill Belichick has proven over and over again that he can replace anybody on the team at will. Even Tom Brady, he's been able to win, not all the time, but he's been able to win with Tom Brady on the on suspension or whatever. Then they go 3-1 last year with Tom Brady suspended. So, this is a league that's not based on it's not for the players' benefit. Okay, the players are just as would be implied by the corporate world. They are actors on a stage. They are performers, and when they put that uniform on, they're not representing themselves. They are representing an organization. They're always bragging about their paychecks and whatever, and the material side of the NFL. And then suddenly somebody tells them, oh, you don't deserve, you're not going to be in this anymore. Now they're crying injustice. Bullshit. Fuck you. If you want to play in that league and you're suddenly having an attitude where you think you can do whatever you want and people should just bow down to you, well, somebody else runs the league. Unfortunately, Roger Goodell runs the league, and that's one of the reasons that you see Ezekiel Elliott getting harassed all the time. That's one of the reasons you see Richard Sherman being bossed around, Marshawn Lynch a couple years ago. You don't have to like it. I don't like it a lot of times. I think sometimes the league acts like a bunch of retards, but it is the league rules. And until there's a significant reform of the league on a whole, then a lot of these bullshit rules are still going to apply. But the one rule that this isn't even a rule. This is a reality. How can you force teams to sign a player that they don't want to sign? How? Are you going to, force your way in and with a ready contract and staple their hand to the paper until they sign the contract? It doesn't work like that. So anyway, this is Ramon. Happy July 4th to everybody except for the Colin Kaepernick fan base. And stay bold.